Hello and welcome. You're watching UTV Live at 6.
Good evening. These are the headlines.
An IT meltdown causes a major incident, forcing ambulances to divert and appointments to be cancelled in the Southern Health Trust.
So we're not doing any outpatients or elective surgery today. Again, for patient safety, we've decided it's safer to have those patients postponed and rescheduled again in the near future.
Gardaí believe they have uncovered the remains of a child who's been missing for years in County Dublin.
And a man and a woman appear in court charged with the murder of Barry Furphy in Lisburn.
Also this evening, something stinks in Warrenpoint. New footage captured by UTV raises questions over waste disposal at the port.
And temperatures will stay above average for the next couple of days, but it will remain fairly unsettled. I'll have all of the details later with the forecast.
Tonight, patients have been advised to stay away from Craigavon and Daisy-Hill emergency departments after a significant IT outage saw the shutdown of the majority of hospital and community services in the Southern Health Trust.
A major incident is still ongoing, with ambulances being diverted to other areas and the majority of planned surgeries and appointments being cancelled. Well, we'll join our health correspondent, Deborah McAleese, in Craigavon shortly. But first, here's her report.
An unmistakable sign that something isn't right. A spot where ambulances are all too often backed up lay empty today, and patients who turned up for planned appointments and procedures were turned away, with only a few emergency surgeries able to continue. And not just here at Craigavon Area Hospital, but at hospitals right across the Southern Health Trust, after an IT outage left the majority of services shut down. Just how big an impact is this having?
Well, yes, our colleague trusts in the province are taking ambulance diverts to keep those patients safe. But within the trust itself, work is just taking a little bit longer than normal because we can't access the results just as quickly or the clinical notes, and it's just taking more time to access that. Well, we're just doing the patients we've got already and emergency services. So we're not doing any outpatients or elective surgery today. Again, for patient safety, we've decided it's safer to have those patients postponed and rescheduled again in the near future.
And that's going to have a massive knock-on impact in the days ahead.
So we'll have to obviously do a bit of catch-up to make sure those patients get those appointments again in as timely manner as possible. But yes, we'll be taking steps already to figure out how to do that properly.
Is there any indication as to what exactly went wrong with the system?
Well, our indication is so far that it's a hardware issue within our data servers, and we don't think there's a cyber attack or anything like that. So it's more around about software hardware issues, and that's been worked on with our external partners.
Have you been given any sort of update as to when it might be up and running again?
No, at present time they're working on that. It's a complex issue, but it's being worked on actively, and we're getting updates every hour on that.
Many of those patients who arrived for scheduled appointments this morning, only to be told they were cancelled, had already been waiting several months, even years, to be seen.
I was here to attend two separate appointments, outpatient appointments, one for cardiac investigation and one for pulmonary investigation. My daughter telephoned me. She was in Belfast this morning. She heard that there was an IT outage and she telephoned to let me know, but I thought I'd come here anyway just in case.
The majority of planned appointments and surgeries for tomorrow have also been cancelled, and these cancellations will no doubt add further pressure on waiting lists.
I really think we need to get an understanding from the Minister and departmentally about what support will be given to the Trust now in terms of how they will ensure that those waiting lists for the urgent surgeries, for the red flag referrals and for everybody that uses the Southern Trust will not be prolonged any longer than it needs to be, because many of those people will already have been waiting on long waiting lists.
There will be a knock-on effect from this, but the critical learning from this is really, really important. This should not happen. Our systems should be more resilient than this, and we need to understand why it has happened, the impact of it, and how it can never happen again.
And Deborah joins us live now from Craigavon Area Hospital. Deborah, what's the latest on this situation?
Well, Rose, staff have been telling me that they have never experienced a day quite like today. And the level of disruption that this IT outage has caused is quite incredible. And that disruption is likely to continue for several more days. And with the emergency department here and in Daisy-Hill only taking the most extreme emergencies, Other emergency departments in other trusts will no doubt be feeling the pressure tonight. Now, the trust said that it still doesn't know when their IT system will be fully functional again, but they do expect that the community services will return to normal tomorrow. However, they have said that the majority of planned surgeries and hospital outpatient appointments remain cancelled tomorrow and are advising patients not to come for those appointments unless they are asked to.
Deborah McAleese, thank you for that information.
Gardaí believe they have uncovered the skeletal remains of a child called Daniel Arubos, who has been missing for years. The discovery follows a search in the Donabate area of County Dublin.
He would have been 7 years old if he were alive today. Formal identification and DNA analysis will now take place. Sarah O'Kane reports.
Daniel Arubos hasn't been seen for 4 years. The toddler's disappearance went unnoticed all this time. Today, police say they've discovered human skeletal remains of a child, and they believe those remains are Daniel's. Searches for the 3-year-old began here in the Donabate area of County Dublin at the start of September, after concerns for the little boy were raised by the Child and Family Agency Tulsa at the end of August. It's understood Daniel lived in nearby apartments and he would have been 7. The alarm was raised when an application for benefits was made in the name of the child, but no records of him ever attending school could be found. He is the second boy to disappear for a number of years without anyone knowing. Kyron Durnan would have been 9 years old this year. He vanished and has not been seen since 2022, when he was a pupil at a primary school in Dundalk. A murder investigation was launched last October. He still hasn't been found. Gardaí say they are currently engaging with the local coroner, and the remains found today will be subject of careful and sensitive exhumation from the current burial site. A formal identification will also have to be carried out, including DNA analysis. We still don't know what happened to Daniel or how he died. Police are asking the public not to assume they have all the information they need and to come forward if you know something that could help. Sarah O'Kane, UTV Live.
A man and a woman have appeared in court charged with the murder of Barry Furphy in Lisburn earlier this week.
The judge was told that the victim died as a result of blunt force trauma to the face and head, as well as multiple rib fractures. Barbara McCann reports.
42-year-old Barry Furphy died during the early hours of Monday morning. He was found fatally wounded with head injuries in the apartment of one of the 2 suspects jointly charged with his murder. The accused are 38-year-old Melissa Atkinson from Wardsborough Road in Lisburn and 37-year-old Jamie Laurie Spence of No Fixed Address, Belfast. Both stood in the dock together. They spoke only to confirm their name and to confirm that they understood the charge against them. An investigating officer said she believed she could connect each of them to the charge. There was no application for bail on Spence's behalf. Atkinson was described in court as vulnerable, but the police objected to her defence solicitor's application for bail due to concerns over potential witness interference and her own safety in light of community tensions in Lisburn. The court heard that police officers who had gone to the scene had noted that both defendants had bruised knuckles and Atkinson had blood on her clothing. During police interviews, the court heard that Spence had said he had punched the victim twice after he had allegedly touched Atkinson's leg, but that they'd both shaken hands afterwards. Both defendants claimed that he had later fallen off a chair, but police said Mr. Furphy's blunt force trauma to the head and rib fractures were not consistent with a fall. The court was told that Atkinson said that the blood on her clothing had come from a cut she had on her foot, but the judge said it needed further investigation. Both have been remanded in custody to appear in court again on October the 13th. Barbara McCann, UTV Live, Craigavon Magistrates Court.
The trial of a former soldier accused of 2 murders on Bloody Sunday heard there might not be sufficient evidence for a conviction if statements from 2 other paratroopers are not admitted as evidence. The prosecution claims the statements given in the aftermath of the shootings can identify that Soldier F opened fire.
He's also accused of attempting to kill 5 other people, but he denies all the charges. Our Northwest correspondent Gareth Wilkinson reports.
Relatives of the Bloody Sunday victims returned to court this morning where a legal battle began. The prosecution wants so-called hearsay evidence used in this trial. That's statements from 2 former paratroopers known as G and H. They were with Soldier F on Bloody Sunday. He denies murdering Willie McKinney and Jim Ray, 2 young men shot dead in Glenfadda Park in Derry's Bogside.
The soldiers entered Glenfadda Park from this direction. Willie McKinney and Jim Ray were shot over there. They were with a number of unarmed civilians who were trying to escape from the soldiers through a gap in the courtyard. And the court has heard that what happened here in Glenfadda Park will be central to this trial.
In a statement given to military police within hours of the killings, Soldier G said he fired 3 aim shots and that Soldier F had fired at the same time. Later in 1972, Soldier H told the Widgery Tribunal, which examined the shootings, that he also saw Soldier F fire at a man. The statements were not given under oath, and the soldiers had falsely claimed they shot at people armed with guns or nail bombs. But a prosecution barrister described it as decisive evidence. He said it can identify that Soldier F opened fire, and that if it's not submitted, there wouldn't be sufficient evidence for a conviction. The court heard today that Soldier H hasn't been called to give evidence in person, and that Soldier G is dead, although a defence barrister argued his death still hasn't been fully established to the court's satisfaction. Soldier F sat screened from the rest of the courtroom behind a curtain. His legal team will mount their arguments against the admissibility of the hearsay evidence tomorrow morning. Gareth Wilkinson, UTV Live.
The waste company blamed for a foul smell which has plagued the seaside town of Warrenpoint for over 2 years has refused to say if the waste causing the odour has been removed. Earlier this week, the Harbour Authority, which owns the land at the port, issued a statement to say that the waste had been removed.
UTV has captured footage which shows piles of waste still in the port being sprayed with what looks to be an odour treatment, raising questions about whether the work has been carried out. Campaigners and politicians say they're concerned and are calling for clarity. Our South East reporter Stuart Robson has this exclusive report.
Sometimes it actually stops me from coming into the town.
Horrible. Horrible, absolutely horrible.
An odour has been hanging over this town for years. This is where it's been coming from, a waste facility at Warrenpoint Port, on the edge of town, but at the forefront of a community's concern. Warrenpoint Harbour Authority, the landowner, has asked Regen, the licensee, to stop storing a certain type of waste at its site, refuse-derived fuel, or RDF. Waste wrapped in plastic, which is eventually shipped abroad for processing. Earlier this week, the authority says it was told that all that waste had been removed and only what should be a non-odorous waste remained on site. But campaigners are not convinced. These images captured by UTV appear to show the bales still being sprayed with odour treatment, and this is what the same area looked like just weeks ago.
You can't even open your window, let alone sit out and enjoy it. No, definitely not.
Anna moved into this house just as the stench began in the summer of 2023.
Just not even the right to fresh air or to be able to enjoy your home, the garden, any time of the year. Just it wouldn't matter if it was the summer months and it's getting hot and the smell's worse. On rainy days, it's just as bad.
UTV has repeatedly asked Regen whether odorous waste still remained on site. It declined to comment and neither confirmed or denied whether it had been removed. We also asked why bales were still being sprayed, if indeed they are odourless. Again, the company declined to comment. Warrenpoint Harbour Authority said that it believed that all RDF had been removed from site, but that further investigations were required to fully address odour issues. Politicians also remain concerned.
I cautiously welcomed the statement from Warrenpoint Harbour Authority yesterday, and it seems that that caution was justified. For me, it's an issue of fairness, because I had hoped that this would give the community here some hope, some light at the end of the tunnel. This nightmare would be over, but unfortunately we can still, as we're standing here now, we can still smell it. Your footage shows that the bales are still there. So, I mean, what we've called for transparency and openness all along, and unfortunately we have not seen that.
Figures obtained by UTV show that since 2023, around 5% of all odour complaints in Northern Ireland stemmed from Warrenpoint. Urgent meetings have also been requested by the authority with the Environment Agency and Environment Minister Andrew Muir. The hope from this town is that the smell dies down as questions remain unanswered. Stuart Robson, UTV Live, Warrenpoint.
Historic convictions against 3 men for having explosives linked to a planned attack on a Royal Ulster Constabulary soccer team have been quashed because of the emergence of some sensitive new material.
The charges related to a failed bomb plot at Limavady United's ground ahead of a home match against the RUC in 1989. Today, the Court of Appeal ruled that the convictions were unsafe, which means that they were not based on reliable evidence and could constitute a miscarriage of justice. Sarah McCarran reports.
Declan John Murphy and Declan John Mohan have just emerged from court with their counsel. Their names have just been cleared, along with another man, Conor Gilmore, who's not pictured. They were originally found guilty of possessing explosive substances with intent after a bomb was found in a dugout before an RUC football match in Limavady. They were jailed in 1991.
The evidence against me had been manufactured. I was tried in the Diplock court, and although that conviction was quashed today, there is nobody going to be held to account for the time that we spent in Long-Cash or for the manufacturing of that evidence. Prison, you miss all the family occasions, you miss opportunities in life. I wasn't the only one. There was literally thousands and thousands of other people went through the prisons at that time. Many other people were in a similar situation to myself.
The men had previously failed in a legal bid to clear their names, but back in 2022, a body which examines potential miscarriages of justice referred their cases back here to the Court of Appeal. And today, after examining fresh evidence that didn't come to light during the original trial, 2 of the 3 senior judges here found that the convictions were not safe because of abuse of process. Most of the hearing took place in private.
We made the allegation on the basis that an informer set these guys up, and we believe that's what that material is. Unfortunately, the court was unable to disclose that to us, but we were always firm in what our case was, and that was that these clients were set up by state agents.
One judge dissented and found the convictions safe. Chief Justice Dame Siobhan Keegan said while the conduct of the police is reprehensible, this is outweighed by the competing public interest in the prosecution of serious terrorist offences. The men say they'll now consider whether there is reason to take further legal action over their ordeal. Sarah McCarran, UTV Live, Belfast High Court.
The Economy Minister has rejected claims that InvestNI is discriminating against the North West.
The allegation was made by Kieran Kennedy as he resigned from the board of the economic development body earlier this year. Jordan Moats has this report.
Kieran Kennedy is one of the North West's best-known business figures. He was managing director of O'Neill's Sportswear and has spoken many times over the years on various issues. He was also a board member of InvestNI, but resigned in June, with minutes showing he told a meeting that it was his opinion the team was not committed to achieving regional balance and felt the North West was being discriminated against. The Economy Minister, Kiva Archibald, has rejected that claim.
I have to point to the delivery that we have seen in the North West over recent times and the number of announcements that have been made. The investment in Seagate, just the week before that, Fintree had opened its new offices. We've seen EY and Alchemy opening up offices in Ebrington.
So you don't agree then?
Well, I obviously everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I don't agree. I do believe that I certainly am placing a priority on the North West, and it is clear to see with the record of delivery.
The location of InvestNI's office in the North West sparked the resignation at that board meeting. A decision had been taken to remain at its current premises while exploring alternative options. That decision angered Mr Kennedy, with him telling the meeting he believed they didn't want to make other locations work and that he had lost all faith in the leadership team. Like the Economy Minister, InvestNI pointed towards recent investments in the area as evidence of commitment to regional balance and defended their decision not to move offices.
I think actually in terms of our footprint in the Northwest, we have a strong team there and we're committed to growing that. The discussions and the considerations at the present time are about our location of our office. Obviously, in terms of looking at our location, we will explore a whole range of options in terms of where to have our presence in the Northwest. But in a constrained budgetary environment, everyone would expect us as InvestNI also to have an eye on both affordability and value for money.
The meeting in June concluded with the chair of the board saying he was disappointed and he believed the businessman was wrong. UTV has contacted Kieran Kennedy for comment but has received no response. Jordan Motes, UTV Live.
Time now to look at tonight's ITV news at 6:30.
And here's Lucrezia Millarini from Windsor Castle with news of President Donald Trump's state visit.
I'll be live from Windsor where the royal family welcomed President Trump for a historic second state visit. The President and the First Lady Melania were greeted by the King and Queen for the royal occasion, but all behind the castle walls. This was the closest the public got to the pomp and pageantry inside. Also on the programme, the Met's prime suspect in Madeleine McCann's disappearance is out of jail in Germany. Plus, inflation remains steady, but the cost of food is surging. We look at why and what it means for interest rates. All that and much more at 6:30.
In sport, Ballymena United upset the odds to inflict Linfield's first Premier League defeat of the season at the showgrounds last night. Former Blues defender Matthew Clark scored Ballymena's winner with a first-half header. The victory moves to the Braidmen up to 4th place in the table, and it was Ballymena's first win over Linfield in 4 years.
The character that them players shown tonight was absolutely outstanding, and let's be honest, who out there gave us a hope in hell tonight? No one. No one gave us a catch chance, and spoke to the players about that before the game. You know, it's been a long time from we've beat Linfield here.
Ireland has lost to England by 4 wickets in the first of a 3-game T20 series at Malahide. Ireland's batsmen produced 196 for 3, while England totalled 197 for 6 with 14 balls left. Phil Salt was the visitors' top scorer on 89, while Ireland's Harry Tector grabbed 61 runs. The second game will be back at Malahide on Friday afternoon.
Throughout the week, we'll be revealing our nominees for the Daily Mirror Pride of Britain Awards. Our champion will be crowned on Friday and they will get to represent UTV at the star-studded event in London.
Well, this evening it's the remarkable Joanne Harris and her inspirational fundraising journey. It was inspired by a friend who went through breast surgery. Paul Riley went to meet her.
When a friend struggled with her prosthetic breast after a mastectomy, Joanne Harris began looking for alternatives. Across the Atlantic, she discovered knitted knockers and brought the concept to Northern Ireland, building a community of knitters along the way.
The first year we started kind of knitting in the August, and I thought we were doing brilliantly because we had delivered just 100 by Christmas, and I thought this was amazing, which it was. And I was always worried that my knitters would fall away, but I'm very, very lucky our knitters have stayed with us. So we, on average, each year deliver in around 5,000 knitted knockers throughout Northern Ireland. I think for the knitters, it built a community of women coming together, and it was women helping women.
Joanne, her whole life revolves around knitted knockers. She has just done so much for the breast cancer community. She will do literally anything for anybody. The knitted knockers themselves then, it meant that I could wear these products basically with it. I didn't have to have a particular prosthetic bra. It could be put into any normal bra. And it was soft and it didn't hurt my scar. And it just made me feel like a proper person again, because the cancer, as you probably know, can just bring you to dark places.
As well as knitted knockers, Joanne's volunteers make other care items, like specially adapted cushions, all made possible by Joanne's limitless fundraising ideas.
She is constantly coming up with new ideas. She comes into my bedroom maybe 11 o'clock just saying, "Oh, I have this brilliant idea." I'm like, "Okay, tell me tomorrow. But, you know, she just, she's amazing. And, you know, every event we do, she always tries to involve the community.
Joanne has also set up breast cancer support groups.
She's just amazing.
I don't know how she does it.
No,
honestly. And
amazing.
I mean, I wouldn't hesitate contacting her in the middle of the night.
Yes.
If, you know, it was something really urgent, because that's just the type of person she is. You can contact her 24/7.
Yes, definitely.
I think it's just, you make the best of every day and you do as much as you can to help people.
The amazing Joanne Harris talking to Paul Riley. We'll have our fourth and final Pride of Britain nominee on UTV Live tomorrow evening.
Weather time now, here's Louise.
Feel good weather is set to continue throughout the day. UTV Weather, sponsored by the Grant Irona R290 heat pump.
Hello there, good evening. After a rather damp start this morning, we did have a few brighter breaks develop through the day. Fairly blustery though if you're out and about, and over the next couple of days, showers or longer spells of rain never too far away with some blustery brisk winds, but it will feel quite mild for this time of year, for the next few days at least. We had a low pressure system moving just to the north of us today, quite a few isobars on the chart, but it's this trailing system that we need to keep an eye on over the next couple of days. Could bring a few outbreaks of rain as we head towards the weekend. Staying largely dry tonight though, brisk southwesterly winds will continue, and those winds will help to keep temperatures stay in double digits as we move through the overnight period, lows of around 11 or 12 degrees Celsius. So a dry start tomorrow morning, quite mild to start the day, but once again blustery, especially around the coast, especially along the east coast. We have some heavy rain pushing in there as we move through the first part of the afternoon, showers breaking out elsewhere. Quite a damp and dismal day, but temperatures holding up above average for this time of year, highs of 18 or 19 degrees Celsius. Across the rest of Ireland, it's a very damp start, but that rain will start to track northwards into the afternoon. One or two heavy bursts there, brisk blustery winds once again. Quite a cloudy and damp day with a few showers following behind, with highs of 19 degrees Celsius. Over the next couple of days, showers never too far away, but it's the temperatures we should focus on. Highs of 18 degrees Celsius tomorrow, reducing to 13 on Sunday, feeling cool. Bye-bye.
UTV Weather, sponsored by the Grant Irona R290 heat pump.
That's the way it is in Northern Ireland this Wednesday. Tea time, I'll be back at 10:30.
The ITV Evening News is next. From all of us here, have a very good evening.
Good evening.